Have you ever caught a glimpse of something that seems so incredible and your imagination just runs wild with it? In the late 90s, I sure did when I first saw gameplay of The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. It was an image of a kid dressed in green, seemingly too young to be having his own adventure, let alone wielding a sword and shield. He was running up one of the many hills of Hyrule Field, one of the largest areas you can travel across in the game. In that instance, all I could see was Link, the hill, a stone wall to one side, and the brightest, bluest sky above. But what etched that image into my memory was the horizon. My mind flooded with thoughts on what adventures awaited past that hill and the scope this world could possibly have to offer. It was one of the first times I experienced this feeling of being entirely enthralled in a video game. Luckily, it wouldn't be the last. In 2018, a game was announced that continued to promote the same excited feeling and prove that the ever-changing horizon was worth chasing.
Come in to me, show us the way. I'm caught between the wind and parts of the unknown. Adored between two worlds, a sight to see. It feels like everything is moved.
Developed by Shedworks, a two-person indie game studio, Sable has you play as Sable, an adolescent girl about to begin a widely popular coming-of-age journey dubbed The Gliding. The main purpose of this journey is to allow her to experience the world and ultimately decide what she wants to do with her life. Sound familiar? But instead of a degree with a healthy side of debt, the final decision of one's identity comes in the form of choosing a mask. Masks are an established cultural presence in the world of Sable, essentially depicting where you're at in life. To choose a mask, you have to earn them during your gliding, and earning a mask requires you to help out people with that mask, experiencing work towards that profession firsthand. Although choosing a mask is the final goal, there's a bigger emphasis on gaining general life experience. There's no grand overarching story, no main quest, and no big baddie you have to fight. In fact, there's no combat to be had at all, despite all the guards you see around. The takeaway is that it's your personal journey. It's about using this flexible time in your life to build a foundation of experiences for yourself. In most open world games, the world can be anything from wide open plains, towering mountains, deep oceans, or all of the above. What stood out about Sable was its choice for a desert setting. Shedworks really made this kind of environment both pretty and appealing to play in. The desert is split into sections where each has its own unique geography and look to it. One section is filled with bright reds and oranges flowing together in a seemingly endless golden ocean. Another has towering stone pillars that are an ever-looming presence as you travel through its valleys. This is where the Mobius-inspired art style really comes into play, how the colors are all flat and terrain has this thicker, distinctive border to it. It feels like any screen from the game can be its own piece of art. The destinations themselves are just as beautiful as the desert, ranging from ruins, camps, or more established settlements. The ruins are particularly enjoyable to discover. Some lead to secret tunnels or inner dwellings, while others feel more sacred and may require a puzzle to be solved in order to gain deeper access to them. Oh, and if you keep a sharp lookout, you may notice a spaceship here, or there, or there, or there, or there. Yeah, okay, there are tons of crashed spaceships to explore. Big, small, bigger, holy mother of God, big. These ships typically have scrap that you can scavenge and sell, or they may contain other goodies like new equipment. Most will also have platforming puzzles to solve in order to fully explore each ship, which you'll want to do. It's not commonly mentioned, but there's a reason there are a ton of ships nestled into the landscape. In keeping with the theme of discovery, you have an opportunity to learn a bit about how they got here in the first place. Fun fact, if this concept of exploring desolate ships sounds familiar, you may recall a certain movie trailer where a young woman is exploring a giant ship on a desert-ridden planet. Well, turns out that scene came from Star Wars Episode 7 and was a direct inspiration for the game. Shedworks wanted to replicate that kind of scavenging exploration experience, and I think it's safe to say that that was very much accomplished. Aside from the cliff walls bordering the world map, your travel options are unlimited. In terms of what order you do things, you can go anywhere at any time, starting day 1. Your journey is yours to create for yourself. The only real restriction can come from your stamina meter, which Sable depends on when free climbing cliffs, buildings, and other structures. But even with 0 stamina upgrades, I found for the most part I could just reach most, if not all edges. Apart from one spot that was explicitly stated to be a climbing challenge, most areas don't require stamina upgrades. It's really great how even in the gameplay, Sable doesn't want to get in the way of you exploring. This freedom to tackle things in any order you want seems like a small thing, but in my opinion, it adds a significant layer towards crafting a journey personalized to you. Having a place to explore is obviously important, but the other side of the coin is to have a fun way to do it. Enter your glider. Playing with your glider's movement is one of the best parts of navigating the desert. There's a variety of terrain where you'll either be leaping across hills like a dolphin or gracefully gliding across the sand like a stingray. Aside from the terrain, your movement is also determined by the parts you have equipped. Machinists and merchants at different settlements have a variety of parts you can customize your bike with. This will in turn affect your bike's performance, which will make navigating through the desert that much easier. Plus, you can get some pretty awesome visual combinations going on, which continues the trend of being able to personalize yet another aspect of your journey. But I haven't even mentioned one of the best parts. Oh, who's a good glider? Yep, day in and day out, you and your glider just elegantly... Alright, I'll admit, gliding isn't without its hiccups. Oh my god. What are you doing? But hey, what's a journey of self-discovery without a few bumps along the way? When you're not gliding around on your hover bike, you meet all sorts of people during your gliding, most of whom have already experienced their own gliding and picked a profession. There are cartographers who sell maps, scrappers who collect ship parts, or machinists who are engineers that have an almost religious connection to mechanical equipment. What's cool is how no matter the profession, everyone is supportive of adolescents experiencing their own gliding. They'll recognize that you're in this aimless yet explorative phase of your life, which means they know you have nothing but time on your hands, so you'll commonly be asked to help people out. It's not only clever having a story-driven explanation of why you're being assigned these tasks, but also meaningful. As excited as people are about this journey, are they really just giving you a fetch quest? Or are they providing you with an opportunity to have a new experience? Like sure, it could only be an activity of hide and seek with some kids, or within the context of the gliding, it's an opportunity to learn if you're the sort of person to enjoy entertaining others. It makes seemingly insignificant tasks more meaningful and connected to the overall theme of self-discovery. I also never felt like quests were too similar to one another. Some are straightforward, like scaling up a well to help a fallen climber, for instance. Others have a bit more complexity to them, like uncovering ruins to help a machinist unlock an ancient secret. At the very least, you always feel like you learned something from all of the quests due to the constant push for discovery. Whether it was a new location you found or simply an idea from talking with an individual with a unique perspective on life, every quest seemed to have its place in the world of Sable. Interacting with characters that give you these quests is taken in an interesting direction. When you initiate conversations, the dialogue from Sable's point of view is written like a first-person narrative as opposed to standard back-and-forth dialogue. This is a unique approach to take, especially for a game like Sable, but it executes really well. It gives an opportunity to better detail the nuances of the conversation and let Sable's personality shine through at the same time. These inner thoughts play an important role in directly connecting the player with what Sable is going through. In the beginning, she's nervous about leaving her comfortable role as a young tribe member and taking that first step into the unknown. During her journey, Sable's open-mindedness allows her to consider others' opinions and formulate them into meaningful lessons to keep with her. To me, this is the most valuable benefit for the presence of her inner thoughts. They allow Sable to highlight thought-provoking ideas for the player to ponder and appreciate the unique interactions you have. Simply put, Sable is a gift. Not only does it stand out as its own unique take on the open world genre, focusing more on the exploration aspect, but it provides you the opportunity to have a fantastic journey of self-discovery that you will take with you for the rest of your life. It's a game about creating experiences and encourages us to make an effort to empathize with people and better understand their viewpoints. Because understanding others will only make us a more well-rounded and whole person. Okay, I got that last part from Avatar, but it's relevant wisdom here. I love games that make you think, and Sable certainly leaves you with a lot to think about. I know for one, I'll be reflecting on what it taught me for a long time. That being open to new thoughts and ideas will only open more doors for you. The unknown can be intimidating, but you'll only be better off experiencing it. All it takes is that first step.